Hello, money-making enthusiasts of YouTube. Welcome back to Luck Crypto, where preparations meet opportunities. Today's video is called Jack Dorsey is Satoshi Nakamoto, and that's because I was browsing Reddit this morning and I saw this really cool Reddit post saying Jack Nakamoto, and anything about Satoshi I'm interested in, so I did click, and they was making the case that Jack Dorsey, creator of Twitter, is Satoshi Nakamoto, and there is very good evidence for it, so we'll go through that in today's video. Firstly, let's check the price of Bitcoin on my website, luckcrypto.gg, and price of Bitcoin today, Sunday the 16th of February, is $96,254. Just went up a bit to $96,269. It's down 1.36% today. And I like recording videos on Sunday because we get the weekly close and we can see what the MACD and what the momentum is going to be like for price of Bitcoin. Always like to see the Sunday closes on the daily and on the weekly. See a little bit of volatility because you've got the bears trying to push the price down for the week, and you've got the bulls trying to keep it up for the weekend. So going into next week, it'll be interesting to see what the MACD is going to be looking like. I've been watching the trend for this MACD candle, and it was going down. Now it's in falling short territory, and I expect, because again this week we got a Doge candle. It's very similar to this Doge candle, but this one's much smaller, but nevertheless it is a Doge candle and it's red, so it's quite bearish. We might see quite a steep fall for the MACD, and that will confirm the bearish momentum, as this was a bearish cross on the weekly time frame. So let's look at the Reddit post, and here it says Jack Nakamoto, and I do browse Reddit, the r/cryptocurrency Reddit, and also the Bitcoin subreddit, and not often is this such a good post, but this one was interesting, and I read, "For years, the identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, the enigmatic creator of Bitcoin, has remained a mystery. But what if the answer has been hiding in plain sight? Here's why Jack Dorsey, co-founder of Twitter and Square, now Block, might just be Satoshi." The interesting thing about Jack Dorsey creating a company called Square, but then changing it to Block, as in blockchain, is of high importance, because Jack Dorsey is very, very big on Bitcoin. We've seen him in public wearing actually t-shirts saying Satoshi on the front. Is he claiming to be Satoshi? Is he doing it in plain sight? Well, we will find out. So the credit for all of this investigation is to Sean3.eth of Decashed. He has put together some really interesting evidence that could say Satoshi Nakamoto is actually Jack Dorsey. But there are many candidates that could be the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto, one of them being Adam Back. When I watched Barely Sociable's series on YouTube about unmasking Satoshi Nakamoto, he made the case that it was Adam Back, and after watching this video, I was sure Adam Back was Satoshi Nakamoto. However, reading this post and this Decashed post, does make a very good case that it could be Jack Dorsey, so we'll see. Jack Dorsey's cypherpunk credentials. He was one of approximately 1,300 confirmed cypherpunks in 1996. His UMR email. I'm not sure what UMR means, but he was confirmed to be on the cypherpunk mailing list in 1996, which is a very long time ago. He wore an Adam Back t-shirt in the UMR yearbook. So UMR must be some university. Which university to go to? We will check this in a minute. UMR, what could it be? University of something something. UMR students were called miners. Interesting. Computer science and math major with an interest in cryptography. This would be an essential requirement because Bitcoin is based largely around cryptography. Member of ACM, Association for Computing Machinery, from 1997 to at least 1999. Created academic research paper submission and review software for Myra Digital Publishing. So he has exceptional credentials when it comes to creating academic research papers for software. He is known to use OpenBSD, Windows, Mac, and Linux. So very proficient in all these different computing operating systems. Obviously, he's a tech wizard. He created one of the largest social media platforms to have ever existed. Now it's called X. He managed to solicit the sale of Twitter, and if I remember correctly, it was for something like $45 billion. So very successful man. Skilled in multiple programming languages, including C, Python, Java, Perl, PHP, OCaml, JoCaml, Lisp, Obj-C, and more. I guess, I'm not sure, I can't remember what it was. I think it was C++ that Bitcoin and TypeScript was used to program Bitcoin, but all these languages would say he's very skilled in all programming languages. He is still on the cypherpunk mailing list in 2000 under his dnet.com email. Wrote a manifesto in 2001 about making a mark without leaving a trace. Who do we know that did that? Well, Satoshi Nakamoto created a $2 trillion market cap asset and left without leaving a trace. And there surely are people who know who he is, but he left without a trace. Subscriber of Cryptome.org in 2001. Early signs of a Bitcoin-like mindset. In 2003, Dorsey posted a bio mentioning his interest in crypto, pseudonyms, and 4 a.m. hacks. Pseudonyms. Mentioning a interest in pseudonyms, meaning you would use a different name. You would post under a different name. So that's interesting. And this is 6 years before Bitcoin was actually first introduced. Well, Bitcoin was mined, the first block, the Genesis block was mined, I think it was January the 9th, 2009 or something like this. But the white paper, I believe, was released in 2008. That same year, 2003, he declared he was ending his dependence on the US dollar and was creating a barter network. That's very, very interesting. Creating a barter network that ends dependence on the US dollar. used the pseudonym Jack without a C instead of Jack with a C. Suspiciously timed events around Bitcoin's birth. Doesn't list what that is in the Reddit post, but I think it does in the very largely more expansive. This is a work of art. We'll get into this, but I probably can't read all of this. The link, if you want to read this, is decached.eth.loan. There's the full URL. Anyway, let's go back to the simplified version on Reddit. August the 17th, 2008. Jack, an avid sailor, tweets, "Around the Horn and home again, for that's the sailor's way. Bitcoin.org is registered the next day." Wow. That is a massive statistic. August the 17th, he made a post, was absolutely confirmed to be active on the internet. Home again, for that's the sailor's way. And the very next day, Bitcoin.org was registered. His Twitter bio from September 2007 until January 2009 mentioned that he was a sailor. The original Bitcoin source code contains an old sailor's adage: "Never go to sea with 2 chronometers. Take 1 or 3. That's very impressive. Bitcoin source code documents were timestamped at exactly 4 a.m, aligning with Jack's known hacking hours. Loves 4 a.m. hacks. Bitcoin source code documents were timestamped at exactly 4 a.m. I don't know, guys, what do you think? Leave comments in the comment section below. Is this looking like Jack Dorsey is really Satoshi Nakamoto? I've only just mentioned the first couple of bullet points, but this is impressive. Bitcoin's source code includes a brute-forced vanity address starting with NS17, Nakamoto Satoshi 1 of 7, timestamped 7th of the 1st, 2009. Yes, you can brute force vanity addresses on Bitcoin. You can find a way to include your name in the address. It takes a lot of computing power, but people can do it with their GPUs and whatever. That's interesting. January 10th, 2009, Satoshi accidentally logs into IRC, revealing a California IP address. Jack was in California. Many people are in California, but yeah, that's true. Jack was based in Silicon Valley, working on Twitter. January the 11th, first Bitcoin transaction occurs. This was Jack's mother's birthday. Okay. November the 19th, 2009, Satoshi joins the Bitcoin forum. This is Jack's birthday. May the 3rd, 2010, Satoshi's last mined block. This is Jack's father's birthday. They know this apparently because there is some kind of pattern that links all Satoshi mined Bitcoin together. All the addresses fall under some kind of pattern called the Satoshi pattern. So apparently this Satoshi pattern ended on May the 9th, 2010. Also Jack's father's birthday. So Jack Dorsey's Bitcoin connections post Satoshi disappearance. Jack's San Francisco address was 2 Mint Plaza, JD2M. He later sent Bitcoin to addresses containing JD2M. Fair enough, but if that was just Jack doing that, that's his own prerogative, but you could say he had a history of doing this, and Satoshi also did. This is the brute-forced vanity address thing. So this is showing history of Satoshi knowing how to do, or like actually doing the vanity addresses, and it also shows Jack doing the same thing. Fair enough. Satoshi tells Marty Malmy he is busy with work. Jack was busy launching Square. So yes, if Satoshi was busy working, Jack was also busy working. Okay. Marty Malmy was I think he was the guy that managed the Bitcoin.org website, but he might have been something else in Bitcoin, I'm not sure. Okay, December the 5th, 2010. Satoshi advises against donating Bitcoin to WikiLeaks. December the 14th, 2010, Twitter receives a secret court order to turn over information about WikiLeaks. Within 2 weeks, you have Twitter receiving a secret court order, and Satoshi also publicly advising against donating to WikiLeaks. And then December 13th, 2010, the day before Twitter got that court order, Satoshi disappears. Coincidence? Don't know. It's not looking like a coincidence, to be honest. March 28th, 2011, Jack becomes executive chairman of Twitter while still CEO of Square. April 23rd, 2011, Satoshi sends his last email. But for some reason they say December 13th, 2010 he disappears, but then he sends his last email a year later. So I don't know about that. He didn't disappear. But he might have disappeared from contributing to the Bitcoin source code. May 23rd, 2011, Twitter's tech lead suggests Bitcoin integration. Jack's public relationship with Bitcoin. September 2012, Jack calls Bitcoin an amazing movement and suggests Square will adopt it if widely accepted. 2013, Alyssa Milano, Jack's best friend, I didn't know this, releases Hacktivist, a novel featuring a protagonist living a double life behind a pseudonym. So his best friend, she was, or still is, an actress. She was in Charmed. I used to like watching Charmed. Only my mum used to watch it, but quite a cool program. Anyway, did she know her best friend was a protagonist in his own life, living a double life behind a pseudonym? I'll need to check what that book is all about. Hacktivist. March the 31st, 2014, Square announces Bitcoin acceptance. And that is one of the very earliest Bitcoin adopters for being a company, a public company. I don't know if they were public at the time, but within the public eye, that's very forward-leaning towards Bitcoin. September the 8th, 2014, Satoshi's email is hacked, and the hacker claims knowledge of Satoshi's connection to St. Louis, Jack's hometown. I don't know, guys, what are you thinking? 2015, Alyssa Milano releases Hacktivist 2, the second book where the protagonist's famous pseudonym is hijacked, featuring a logo similar to Gavin Anderson's Bitcoin faucet logo. These books could be studied to see if there's actual links, hidden gems about Jack being Satoshi Nakamoto. August the 15th, 2015, Satoshi reappears on the Bitcoin mailing list amid the block size debates, sparking doubts about the authenticity of the return. Because people doubted it was actually Satoshi, but it could have been. October the 15th, 2015, Jack becomes permanent CEO of Twitter. 2018, this is like 3 years later now, Square releases a children's book about the legend of Satoshi Nakamoto, where Satoshi resembles Jack. Jack is like a mega fanboy. If you didn't suspect Jack Dorsey was Satoshi, you would just know him as a massive proponent of Bitcoin, and that's a really good thing. But Square released a children's book about Satoshi Nakamoto where Satoshi resembles Jack. So, recent Jack Dorsey and Bitcoin connections. April the 20th, 2020, Lex Friedman, that famous podcaster on YouTube, asks Jack if he is Satoshi. Jack coyly replies he wouldn't admit it if he were. Unlike Nick Szabo, Adam Back, and Hal Finney, Jack never outright denies that he is Satoshi Nakamoto. So, if he doesn't outright deny that he is Satoshi, is he Satoshi? So here we go. May 25th, 2020. 145 old Bitcoin addresses sign a message calling Craig Wright a fraud. One of these addresses start with one Jack without the C, Jack's pseudonym. Another includes Hi SQ, SQ Square, Jack's company. February 2022, Jack starts, and before we move on to that next point, this is the vanity address thing where you could, if Jack wanted to do that, he would just brute force a one Jack vanity address, which, you know, it's definitely within the realm of possibility that he could do something like that. February 2022, Jack starts wearing a Satoshi t-shirt, first on a Michael Saylor podcast, then at the Super Bowl. And yeah, that's in the thumbnail of this video, because yeah, he was at the Super Bowl wearing a Satoshi t-shirt. Now, if that's not hiding in plain sight, then I don't know what is. If you are Satoshi, of course. Alright, next then. October 27th, 2023, at a conference, Jack states, Bitcoin and Satoshi in 2009 was a combination of my childhood and my curiosity, and everything that I aspired to be and everything that I loved. That is quite a poignant statement. Early 2024. We should go back onto that point, is Craig Wright was obviously claiming to be Satoshi Nakamoto, and in his court filings he listed hundreds and hundreds of Bitcoin addresses that he claimed that he owned, but 145 of those addresses created messages on the Bitcoin network saying Craig Wright is a fraud, he's not Satoshi Nakamoto. And yeah, one of those addresses started with one Jack. Those addresses were going back all the way to 2009, you know, the very first, earliest miners. Apparently these addresses aren't within the Satoshi pattern, but that could just mean there's a possibility that Satoshi was just mining on different machines that wasn't connected to the Satoshi pattern. They say Satoshi mined 1.1 million Bitcoin, but he could have mined a lot more. You just don't know which addresses he owns. It could be closer to 1.5. Who knows? Anyway. Early 2024, Craig Wright's attorneys argue that if he is not Satoshi, the real Satoshi should come forward to refute the claim. Jack, through his involvement in the COPA vs. Wright lawsuit, does exactly that. 21st of July 2024, Jack posts on Nostr. I frequently imagine Satoshi sitting back somewhere and laughing at it all. August 28th, 2024, Jack thanks Halfini on Nostr. And that is the end of this Reddit post. But a work of art or hidden truth. The prevailing belief that Satoshi never wanted to be found is an assumption created by others. Jack himself has clarified that Satoshi chose pseudonymity. I don't know how to say that. Pseudonymity, not anonymity. Anonymity. I can't say those words, they're just funny. Pseudonymity and not anonymity. Anonymity. Yes, anonymity. Yeah. Given his deep involvement in cryptography, early Bitcoin era events aligning with personal milestones, and his long-time cryptic nods to Satoshi, it is possible that Jack Dorsey created Bitcoin as a form of digital art. A masterpiece of financial revolution, or is he simply the ultimate Bitcoin enthusiast, subtly playing into the mystery? What do you think? Could Jack Dorsey really be Satoshi Nakamoto? This was posted by Jehoseph. Interesting deep dive. Sean Murray is a legend for this one. I really believe he has uncovered something potentially. You need a comma there, I think. The biggest takeaway is that Jack's a birthday shag. The best, in my opinion, is not knowing. The actual ability to stay quiet, humble, and sit back and watch is one of the best inactions someone can do. Selfless, a superhero that stays in the shadows, in my view. Fun fact, Satoshi Nakamoto is not my uncle, and here we go. This is where all the normie crypto Reddit plebs come out, and all the comments are just pointless. So we'll go back on to the real thing. And we are only 14 minutes away from the weekly close. We might still be recording, so I'm looking forward to seeing what that next candle is going to look like. And that Bitcoin address in question, that one Jack, is here. And it received and still has a balance of 50 Bitcoin. $4.8 million. It was a block reward that was rewarded to one Jack. So when block rewards are rewarded, I'm not sure if they actually could be brute forced to get a vanity address. I'm not really clued up on all that, so somebody will have to tell me in the comments if that's possible or not. But Bitcoin creates an address and gives that block reward to the person who would mined it. And they received 50 Bitcoin and they've never been spent. Here we go. The art of Satoshi Nakamoto. Why Jack Dorsey is probably Bitcoin's creator. This was published December the 23rd, 2024. All references to Jack Dorsey within are alleged, since he has historically denied being Satoshi Nakamoto. That's the quote. Bitcoin and Satoshi in 2009 was a combination of my childhood and my curiosity, and everything that I aspired to be, and everything I loved. Enter Satoshi. How Jack Dorsey's end at Twitter in 2008 overlaps with Satoshi Nakamoto's introduction. Oof, I don't know if I can read all this, it's going to take a while. But basically, Twitter announced that it announced its acquisition of Surmise, a feat made possible by its capital raise a month earlier. Blah 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 blah. Happy birthday, Fred Wilson. Satoshi emailed Wei Dai, creator of B-Money, 2 days later on August 22nd. I was very interested to read your B-Money page. I'm getting ready to release a paper that expands on your ideas into a complete working system, Satoshi wrote. So this was the same day someone named Satoshi Nakamoto sent his inaugural email to the creator of Hashcash, Adam Back. I'm getting ready to release a paper that references your Hashcash paper, and I wanted to make sure I have the citation right. Happy birthday. August 18th, Jack Dorsey tweeted, sifting through proposals. It's unclear what that was in reference to. That date, however, would later become famous as the date that pseudonymous identity registered the domain name bitcoin.org. 2 days later, on August 20th, Fred Wilson, one of the investors looking to oust Jack, was celebrating his birthday. This is all about Enter Satoshi, and he was becoming a presence online, mailing the guys, Adam Back, Wei Dai, on the same time Jack Dorsey was doing all these things around Twitter, so he was very active. SourceForge. October the 15th, he was fired from Twitter. On June the 23rd, 2004, for example, a devlog on the project said that DNet had started implementing the peer-to-peer networking system, which will be used by the 2.x system for communicating between computers. Fixed a bug in the peer-to-peer networking code. Restructured peer-to-peer network code. Reached an initial milestone with the peer-to-peer network. Started implementing the peer-to-peer networking system, which will be used by the 2.x system for communicating between computers. In March 2005, it was revealed that Jack Dorsey was still linked to DNet when his own web blog appeared on the homepage. So this is Enter Satoshi, and it says that obviously Satoshi Nakamoto created a peer-to-peer cash system, and Jack Dorsey is closely linked to creating also something peer-to-peer in the company or corporation called DNet. Very, very interesting. So that's just the first point, first chapter. Jack and the white paper. Satoshi Nakamoto's white paper reveals his likely true source material and possibly even his identity. Does it though? It references Wei Dai, H. Macias, S. Haber, D. Bayer, S. Haber, Adam Back, Hashcash, a denial of service countermeasure. So, in this table, this Sean guy has showed exactly who was referenced and for what. And it's all to do with something being peer-to-peer. this is incredible documentation. Wow. Okay, what's this then? Association for Computing Machinery. In 1997, this yearbook photo taken at the Missouri University of Science. So that's what that thing is. He was a scholar at University of Science in Missouri. And Jack Dorsey is in this picture somewhere. Can we find him? Don't know. But anyway, members, Jack Dorsey. Yeah, I think he's there. I think that's Jack Dorsey. Well, according to the ACM website in 1998, it said that as a free benefit of membership, ACM is now offering all members individual email addresses. The username of your account is also your acm.org email handle. Mail sent to your username will be forwarded to your real email address. Memberships had to be paid for. Jack Damon. Core. Jack continued to publicise that email address for himself, at least through October 2000, before he completely overhauls his blog and no longer shared that information. Jack D at trackcore.net, Jack D at dnet.com, Jack D at acm.org. Okay. Where's the link then? I'm sure the link is in here somewhere. Can anyone suggest a beginner's book about cryptology? I am an engineer and good with math. I just became interested in the topic, but I need the very basics, thanks. Jack at Trackcore. Jack Damon. Berkeley is my baby and I would want to... Very strange. Like the Sassaman bookshelf theory, we can assume that this applied cryptography book actually sat on Jack's bookshelf. Yeah, okay. He had a book about cryptography, so probably studied this book and was very versed in knowing quite a lot about cryptography. Interesting. In the comments of Szabo's own April 2008 post, he extended an open invitation to help him code up something like BitGold using bit strings. If Szabo is not Satoshi, which he has emphatically denied being, then Satoshi had possibly read this blog post in April 2008 and took up the challenge despite not crediting him in the Bitcoin white paper. In any case, Satoshi communicated to Back that his system combined proof of work to support a distributed timestamp server. As it turns out, if Satoshi had continued to follow ACM's annual papers, he would have encountered Hashcash at the proper time period in question regardless. So this is saying there's many links between all the creatings of Bitcoin, all the things that were referenced in the white paper, and there's links to Jack also being involved in some of it somehow. But I'm not seeing a lot of links, to be honest, with Jack. Jack Dorsey, who supported and addressed Jack D. Okay. Jack continued to publicise his email. Okay. Jack. And so something about his research papers with help from Jack Dorsey. Interesting. This company Mira shifted from trade show content to conference publishing. So somehow a link between that company, Jack, and the creation of Bitcoin. Bitcoin white paper. Let's read this. Notably, Jack Dorsey would have encountered some of the authors of these papers in another way. In June 1999, he actually advised someone to read Applied Cryptography, Protocols, Algorithms, and Source Code in C by Bruce Schneier. Schneier was famous with the cypherpunks because he designed the solitaire encryption algorithm in Cryptonomicon, authored by Neil Stephenson, and Jack knew about it. So yeah, he knew about the book. Therefore, he probably knew about all the people referenced in the white paper. There we go, okay. That's the link. Let's move on to chapter 3. Satoshi brute forced Bitcoin addresses to spell out messages. Yes, fair enough. But that's just speculation, to be honest, because NS, well, it's Nakamoto Satoshi. You don't know that was actually brute forced. Could have been just a coincidence. You can send to my Bitcoin address if you want to, but you won't get to see the full transfer sequence. I just thought of something. Eventually there'll be an interest in brute force scanning Bitcoin addresses to find one with the first few characters customized to your name. Kind of like getting a phone number that spells out something. Just by chance, I have my initials. So he said just by chance I have my initials. Doesn't mean he brute forced it. He quite literally in that post says it was just by chance. But anyway, Satoshi was aware of the fact that you could brute force Bitcoin address for vanity addresses. So if Satoshi knew that and Jack Dorsey also knew that, then okay, there is a link. Anyway, it's midnight and the weekly candle just closed. And there, right on time, there's the MACD falling even more, proving that since this bearish cross on the MACD, it's gone down quite a bit. Momentum is shifting. What does that mean for the price of Bitcoin in the coming weeks? Well, if my lines were still here, it would be me saying I expected it to hit the 50-week exponential moving average. For some reason my machine deleted my lines. But anyway, on the weekly, that's there, right, for some reason that wasn't working. Let's get that on 50, 100 and 200 exponential moving average. I was expecting Bitcoin to test the 50-week EMA, which will be in the 70s, and that's where that massive CME gap is. It's at 78,000. Does the MACD confirm this is happening? We will see. Let's get back to this. When this email and others were released by Hal Finney to the Wall Street Journal in the months before he died in 2014, Bitcoin fans quickly drew up two possible theories as to what Satoshi meant by NS. That the initials stood for Nakamoto Satoshi in true Japanese name sequence styling, that it was a wink and a nod from the sender to Hal Finney that NS secretly meant Nick Szabo, another individual long accused of possibly being Satoshi, but many people think it isn't. Many people do think it is Nick Szabo, but I don't think it's him. And so for the last 10 years, the debate has mostly been stuck on expanding on those two theories. And that's mainly because the email has been interpreted literally, that Satoshi had been voicing nothing more than a stream of consciousness about something that happened just by chance. Check out this timeline. Satoshi sends 10 bitcoins to Hal Finney. Hal, in a non-timestamped email, tells Satoshi, "I see you sent me payment. Thanks." Now that Hal has received the bitcoins, Satoshi gives Hal a separate address than the one he used to send him them from, along with the clue about customized addresses. Yeah. "1A1, that was the Genesis block wallet. 1NS is the Bitcoin demo wallet." Interesting. Satoshi used 1NS in his original source code for UI-base.cpp, where he wrote, "This equals this. Enter the recipient's IP address, this, for online transfer with comments and confirmation. 1NS, if recipient is not online, something something." Indeed, it turns out the sender of those bitcoins to Hal came from 12CB, which by chance has 2 words in it. Home FTP. Home FTP, while anyone is free to conclude that this is just random assortment of letters, I believe it is a reference to Neil Stephenson's Cryptonomicon novel. Wow. Another thing he did this morning was to download the Cryptonomicon from the FTP server where it lives in San Francisco. See, all these... This guy who gathered all this information, crazy. Build something quick, and if it doesn't feel electric when you use it, move on and build something else. I share my location by intersectional landmark, most often by the former. How do you tell someone your location? Exact address, intersection, neighborhood? My next door neighbor is the San Francisco Chronicle, yet none of my news comes from there. Jack reminds people he is living at Mint Plaza, which is across the street from the San Francisco Chronicle. Jack asks how to tell someone in the neighborhood. Okay, thanks Jack, we'll use that as a guide. Where did he live at the time? 2 Mint Plaza in San Francisco. Super speculative, maybe, yeah. By LSV. So now, dude, San Francisco. If you're watching this and you're thinking, where is this going? Well, I'm just trying to make an hour-long video, to be honest, but this is super, super interesting, so go and watch it, go and read it all for yourself. What's missing, of course, is the conspiracy theory to make any sense, is the actual location, which suddenly makes itself known in the second address. It's in the middle, JD2M, Jack Dorsey 2 Mint Plaza. This is deep. So, what could be the most interesting chapter? Let's see. The birthday coincidences and numerology. Cryptonomicon could be a big one. The music of Satoshi. Jack Dorsey before Bitcoin. Hacktivist 1, Hacktivist 2. Hacked and doxed the tweet trail. Jack vs. Craig Wright. Japan, exit Satoshi. Let's take a look at Cryptonomicon. Similarities between Bitcoin's founding and the novel Cryptonomicon. Bitcoin Cryptonomicon. I'll take a drink of water a minute. Bitcoin's white paper release October 31st. Neil Stephenson's birthday October 31st. 10-minute Bitcoin block times. In the span of 10 minutes, the world holds its breath to determine if fiat can still be exchanged for gold and silver. The millions of promises printed on those slips of bumwad will all be kept or broken in the next 10 minutes. Cryptonomicon. I want to get this book. Genesis block hidden message. The Times, 3rd of January 2009. Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks. Failing banks print money on old newspapers. It must be a cutthroat business because banks slash costs by printing it on old newspapers. Cryptonomicon. The address Satoshi used to conduct the first Bitcoin transaction with Halfini, 12CB, home FTP. Another thing he did this morning was download the current version of the Cryptonomicon from the FTP server, where it lives in San Francisco. Cryptonomicon. Interesting. First Bitcoin conference in 2011, promoted with Cryptonomicon as background reading. The Bitcoin conference. Well, this is interesting. Hacktivist 1. Is there a cover? Does that look like Jack Dorsey? I think it does. That would be cool for the thumbnail. Might make another video, or I might just put that in. That is an awesome piece of art. I wonder if you could zoom in on all this and see if there was any other like imagine if any of this was like Bitcoin code. And what are all these people doing? This is Turkey. Are they rising up against, with a note to readers by Jack Dorsey? And are they rising up against the mega inflation that was going on with the Turkish lira? What does the Hacktivist 2 cover look like? Very similar. Is that a Bitcoin mining machine? The enemy's logo in Hacktivist 2. Gavin Anderson's Bitcoin Faucet logo. I'm not sure that looks anything like each other. I don't know, but I'm not sure. I think that's just something else. That looks more like the MicroStrategy logo. Let's take a look at Hacked and Doxed. Satoshi Nakamoto hacked and doxed? I don't think he was. This was in 2014. The first email address, Satoshin@gmx, was hacked. They claim that there was some order to some place that leaked a identity that was in St. Louis, and that's where Jack Dorsey was from. That's insane. Square was founded in 2009 in St. Louis, Missouri. There's just so many coincidences with all this story. Exit Satoshi. Satoshi taught me this concept of walking away and not touching their Bitcoin. not as far as we can tell benefiting from it from a value perspective in any way. Walking away at the onset of WikiLeaks using it, which will tell you something about why they may have walked away. According to the book, the plan was to bring Jack back to the company. Although Jack wanted to be CEO, he knew he couldn't do it while running Square at the same time. But just returning would be enough, at least for now. Do you think Jack Dorsey is Satoshi Nakamoto? I'm going to have to do a bit more research into this because I thought it was Adam Back. But I think both candidates are like the same kind of likelihood. I've moved on to other things, Satoshi wrote on April 23rd in reply. It's in good hands with Gavin and everyone. I do hope your Bitcoin J continues to be developed into an alternative client. It gives Java devs something to work on, and it's easier with a simpler foundation that doesn't have to do everything. It'll get critical mass when impatient new users can get started using it while the other is still downloading the blockchain. Satoshi wrote to Gavin Anderson with his last email ever. I wish you wouldn't keep talking about me as a mysterious, shadowy figure. The press just turns that into a pirate currency angle. Maybe instead, make it about the open source project and give more credit to your dev contributors. It helps motivate them. On April 27th, Jack Dorsey expressed just how tough it was to be working at two major companies at once. I had to cancel my Square-related trip to China in May to be at Square and Twitter every day. Sorry, whoa, yo. Lots going on here. And there might have been even more going on as he was just running Bitcoin as well. But, was walking away from it. On May 23rd, 2011, Twitter's tech lead tweeted, I wonder when, if Square will handle Bitcoin payments. And this was like 2 weeks later. So, what do you think? I think there's at least a non-zero chance that Jack Dorsey is Satoshi Nakamoto, creator of Bitcoin. So I think keep doing research into this and we might discuss this in another video. I'll be watching the Barely Sociable series on unmasking Satoshi Nakamoto because I want to react to those videos and make more Bitcoin content. The channel is growing, it's going quite slow, but we're getting there. It's happening. I just wanted to talk about this today because it was super interesting. So let's have a look at the price of Bitcoin on luckcrypto.gg. My lips are getting tired now. I still have that mouth also, which is really hurting. But it's my fault. I was eating salt and vinegar crisps. And when it cuts you, and it's kind of game over, it just happens. Price of Bitcoin, 96,285. On Binance, let's take a look. It's going to be an interesting week. We'll see what's happening. The money flow is still red. There's outflows. Why is that? It means that there are very large sells. Big sells. Much bigger than large buys. Large buys, 4,997 Bitcoin. Large sells, 6,435 Bitcoin. Is showing that in real time, the whales are selling more Bitcoin than they're buying. So we'll leave it there and we'll hopefully make another video tomorrow. You have been watching Luck Crypto. I wish you all the very best of luck. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.